Our sponsor today is Witt. Witt is an aviation-themed t-shirt business designing and printing aviation-related graphics for pilots, aviation businesses, and aviation enthusiasts worldwide. Using DTG, direct-to-garment printing technology, Witt can print 1 or 100-plus garments upon request within a reasonably low turnaround time, including customer-submitted graphics. Contact Witt Aviation T-Shirt Art by visiting witt.com today to find out how a custom aviation graphic can be printed for you. Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to Savvy Central Radio. This is your host, Christina Nitzman. Each week on Savvy, we host new individuals and business owners, inviting them to share their expertise, dreams, and lessons learned in their field of business. Today's guest is John W. Witt, founder and owner of Aviation Jewelry Designs LLC, a premier aviation and military-themed jewelry showplace specializing in detailed jewelry designs. John will share with us his extraordinary story and show that all things are possible with persistence and following your heart. To find out more about John and Aviation Jewelry Designs, go to their website at www.aviationjewelrydesigns.com. Hi, John. Thanks for coming to Savvy Central Radio. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, Christina. Thank you for having me.
Well, I am super excited to have you out here. I was introduced to you by Witt Aviation T-Shirt Art, one of our biggest sponsors. He told me all about your amazing company, Aviation Jewelry Designs. You do amazing pieces of jewelry. And when we got to talking on the phone, you told me your whole amazing story. I just thought you have to come out here on Aviation Month and share with our audience your amazing story, which is so inspiring to me. And not only that, it shows that through the power of persistence and pushing forward that anything is possible. Share with our audience a little bit about your story.
Certainly. I'd be glad to. I grew up in the jewelry business and starting when I was 9 years old and started cutting stones with my dad after he had an accident and introduced to lapidary as a hobby, and that grew into a business. Started silversmithing when I was 11 and goldsmithing when I was 15 and diamond setting when I was 17. I also had a passion for aviation and never had any dreams that the two would come together. Mm-hmm. But my parents got divorced and all I'd ever done was jewelry work, and I decided to do something different for a change, and I went to work for a company, Emergency One, a fire truck company in Cal, Florida, and my main job was as a heliarc welder. I applied the nice welds to the areas that showed on the fire trucks, as well as building other items, and I became their specialty welder. But on January 19th, 1982, fate had a major change in my life, and I was asked to weld up some extra holes that had been drilled in a C-8000 diesel tank that had been drilled for the fuel sending unit. Supposedly, the tank had been checked out and it was safe to weld, and I found out the hard way it hadn't. And when I was asked to weld the tank, set everything up, knelt down on the tank and flipped my switch, and the tank exploded. It turned out it had gasoline in the tank, and it had been used to haul gas in to siphon it out of it to get other trucks in the plant. And the tank wasn't marked, and fortunately I ended up with it. And I was burned over 70% of my body, almost all but third degree. I was taken to a hospital in Gainesville, Florida, and treated for the burns. My family was told that I wouldn't come out of the hospital alive. I had less than 9% survival chance. God had plans for me, and even after going through cardiac arrest 3 times, I'm still here. And it made a major change in my life. My life has never been the same and never will be the same after that. During the time of healing, there was things put on my heart. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew that God had kept me here for a reason. There was a purpose. Over the years, with a lot of work, and I managed to get back in the jewelry business. It was prescribed for me as therapy. My hands were burned so bad, the doctors were only giving me a chance to get 15% normal use of my hands, and they said I might gain 30% learning how to do things different ways, but I wasn't willing to accept that. We got me to a doctor out in Texas. Fortunately, she looked at me and she said, I understand you're a jeweler. And I said, well, I used to be. And she says, well, I want a lapis lazuli ring, and I want you to make it for me. And I said, Dr. Abson, if you can get me where I can do jewelry work again, you'll have it. And she held her hands out, opened them with her fingers spread, and then closed them. And she said, when I get done with you, you're going to be able to do this. And I knew that was better than 30%. And I said, Lord blessed me with, actually I ended up gaining close to 70% use of my hands. Worked very hard to get back into the jewelry field. I was actually declared 100% disabled, but I was determined that I was going to be a jeweler again. My doctor saw that the jewelry work was great therapy for me. It kept my hands mobile, and it kept my mind off the pain and the disfigurement, and it gave me a focus and give me a purpose. And as I grew into that, I started realizing that this is something that I wanted to share, that this could make a difference in other people's lives. And I started coming to the realization that that's why God kept me here, and then I can make a difference.
Wow. Wow, I love this. You know what I'm getting so much, and I'm really, really inspired by your faith, because a lot of people might have gone through what you went through and lost their faith in God to say, oh, why did this happen to me? You know, this is not fair, and all of that. But what I'm really, really admire is your strong faith has never left you, and the fact that you stayed determined regardless of what the doctors were telling you in front of you that, hey, this is not possible. You can't do X, Y, Z, and you said, absolutely not. That's unacceptable to me. And you just went forward to make it happen. I mean, that is so many great lessons in there.
Well, I appreciate that. Fortunately, I learned early on that your attitude plays 80% of how well you're going to do. And, of course, God. You've got to have faith and believe in the Lord. And with that, all things are possible.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And attitude, is perspective on your situation makes the biggest difference, because I've heard you could have two people in the room, and they have both gone through the exact same thing, and one can go through it with flying colors and the other one can fail. And the only difference between the two will be their perspective and their attitude on the situation.
You're absolutely right. And I experienced that when I was in the hospital. When I was initially burned, there was another young fellow that was burned actually a little less than what I was, and his hands were not burned near as bad as mine. And yet his attitude was so horrible that he ended up losing almost all of his hands. He ended up withdrawing up in fetal position, and can't even imagine him being alive at this point in time. But, you know, it was very, very unfortunate. And he could have done even far better than I did, and just by a change of attitude. You know, but that's something that, you know, unfortunately back in the time, and I'm not even sure now if those things are taught. And that's one of the things. I've gone through a lot of hardships and difficulties, and I know with what I've been through and what I've learned from that if I share that, others from going through the same difficulties that I've had.
Like John, that's awesome. And what I like, John, is that you can help our audience by hearing your story, that whatever anyone might be going through, whether it's in their business or family, their marriage, that if you look at it and say, what can I do to make this better, instead of saying, woe is me and feeling sorry for yourself, saying, changing your perspective on it, regardless of what's in front of you, what are my blessings right now?
You're right. It's a hard thing to maintain, and over the years, I've even got to where I've backtracked and, you know, gotten to a negative lifestyle. And just about a year ago, I made a decision. What's happened to me? I'm not being me. I'm not being Mr. Smiley. And I did a paradigm shift and started looking back and taking account of things. And well, what do I need to do to get back to being Smiley? And that used to be my nickname. And I want to be Smiley again. So I'm well on the way. I feel my life is just making a about turn again, and it's amazing that, you know, even after all I've been through, how things can creep up on you and slip in there before you even know it. So it's something you have to work at. That's for sure.
Yeah, I can totally see. And what I'm getting from you is that you one day, like you just said, you made the decision, and you're like, that's it. I've had enough. The decision was first made. You made the decision to follow your passion and your desire, and then led to constant discipline to stay on track, which is not easy, but it's that constant work in progress.
You're right. You're right. I'm on a mission, and I've never lost sight of the mission. But, you know, I have lost sight times, you know, as far as taking care of myself. I need somebody every now and then to stand up and show me, hey, things can be better. And, we all do. So I'm hoping to be able to take my lessons and apply them and help get others through the hardship and just let people know just because you've had something catastrophic happen to you doesn't mean life is over, and it doesn't mean that you can't have a purpose. It doesn't mean that you can't have good times. There's plenty of good times to be had.
Awesome. Yeah, completely. And everyone, I think, and I don't think enough attention is brought to this, the necessity for a mentor or a coach or someone out there that can look at you from outside perspective and say, okay, here's where you're getting into your crap and you need to just let go of it, and here's where to help you see things more clearly. And sometimes you just really need that outside perspective of a mentor to just help you through that way. And honestly, that's what this show is so great about, is that everyone that comes out there and shares their stories and their wisdom and their lessons learned, my hope is that others will listen in and it'll help them in their business and life and going forward.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful thing that you're doing, and I'm hoping that somebody out there will actually hear and some of the things that, I still experience hardships. I could use some mentors myself. Due to my hearing loss, I was unable to go to college, and so I've got a lot of great business experience, but it's been all through the school of hard knocks. There's a lot of things that I could use help with myself. What I'm building here is great. We're on a fantastic road, and I have more business than I can handle just about. But there's so much more I can do, and what I'm building here is a team project. And so I'm just having faith that the Lord is going to bring those people and put the proper team together. But I'm building this business for wounded warriors and other people that had catastrophic accidents so that they can experience the joy that I have and be able to move forward and have something to take their mind off the pain and the disfigurement and make a difference in their lives, and so they can make differences in other people's lives.
Absolutely. That is a fabulous goal and achievement there. But, I'd love for you to share with your audience, because you just mentioned that you've learned so much in business through the hard knocks of life. Share what is your greatest lesson you've learned so far in running your business and going through all these hurdles you've gone through?
Well, I have learned that you have to define what it is you want to achieve. You have to be persistent. You can't be afraid to fail. And you have to have a passion for what you're doing. And if you do that, work through anything. Anything is possible.
How do you define mistakes or stuff that as you're going through your journey? Do you find them as lessons learned towards your, greater success, or do you just find that you should just leave them alone, keep going forward?
I absolutely do not define mistakes as mistakes. I define them as learning lessons. They're only a mistake if I do it again. And if I do it a third time, I'm going, what an idiot. But no, they're learning experiences. We all are going to have those. And if we take it as that and learn from it and move forward, that's the whole key, is that as long as you're making that forward movement.
Yeah, I totally agree, John. And through all your challenges and such, what has been, say, your greatest challenge to overcome, and how did you overcome that challenge?
Well, I guess my greatest challenge has been surviving. Getting through what I did, initially from my accident. And then the second would be pushing forward and not believing what others told me, but believing what's put in my heart and sticking with that. That's my faith in the Lord, and my faith has been tested over and over again. And any time that I've withdrawn from that, or I haven't listened to something that's been put on my heart, I've paid a heavy price. When I do listen, I'm faithful to what's been put on my heart, that's when I get the most joy, and that's when things really start happening. I've been to the other side, and there's nobody that can't tell me there's not God. And I had to do some powerful arguing to be here. But I knew that I could make a difference in others' lives. I'm thankful for that opportunity. And I have to do what I'm doing, because if I don't, then everything I've been through is in vain.
I love what you just said there, John. I want to hit on that, where you mentioned when you didn't listen to to your heart, when you didn't listen to your deep desires and passion. And this is an interesting thing, John. I had heard that recently there was a lesson done on etymology, and the word desire comes from of the Father. And I didn't know that. The original meaning of that word is of the Father. And so when you have a deep desire and passion in your heart, that is God speaking to you. And I found it interesting that when you didn't listen to that deep desire within you, listen to God, that you had greater difficulty in your life. And I think that's a great lesson as well for everyone out there. When you have that deep pull and desire and passion in your heart and you don't listen to it, how that you also kind of bring about a lot of the struggles in your life.
You're right, and that's so huge. Just recently, an example, I was introduced to somebody, and being the fact that I've built most of this by myself, the business, and just needing some help, I welcomed somebody into the business that without doing a proper check and so forth, I had an uneasy feeling, and I also love helping people. And this person needed help, and so I overrode those uneasy feelings and went ahead and took this person in. Ultimately, I ended up getting burnt quite badly, and it could have been much worse. I ended up losing about $20,000 this year and had many setbacks in regards to moving forward. Fortunately, I started realizing what was going on and was able to make a change. But if I had just listened to that feeling, I would not have had to experience what I've had to experience this year. It was quite a lesson, and it's another one that's one of those lessons of hard knocks.
Yeah,
I've learned that it's worth paying $20 to have the background check done.
Yeah, I can totally see that. And I've had similar experiences. I, many years ago, took a job completely based on monetary funds, based on the amount they put on the table. And the same thing like you, I got a really uneasy feeling about it, but said, there's too much money on the table for me to pass it up. And at the end of it all, they ended up not paying me. I ended up losing. And had I gone with the initial call inside that said, this is a bad deal, this isn't going to work, I just purely based it on, oh, wow, look at the number, what they're giving me. But the point is, it wasn't going to work, and something deep down inside of me, God talking to me, saying, don't go there, and I went there, and I paid the price. So you're absolutely right. Follow your intuition. There's a reason that God put it in there, for you to listen to it, pay attention to it, and not discount it. If you're getting an uneasy feeling, or if you're getting a strong pull, pulling you to do something you've not done that makes you a little uncomfortable, that's taking you out of your comfort zone, it's just allowing you to grow a little bit, to expand, and then take that leap. Have faith and go into it.
The biggest hit that I had was back in 1982, and that time when I was asked to weld up the holes on that tank, I had a feeling about it. And I asked my lead man to take the tank out if it was safe to weld, and told me that he had. If I had listened to what was put on my heart, I would not have gone through what I've gone through. Now, I believe the accidents happen. At that time, I actually, when things happen, my life passed before my face. It was like 1,000,000 miles an hour, but I could see everything. And I believe at that time that was, because it was an accident, it wasn't something that was planned. And, you're given free will, and I made a choice and I made a wrong choice. But at least God gave me the opportunity to evaluate my life and see what I had done in life. And so I was able to see whether I had done everything that I felt I needed to do. And I had. And that opportunity was what set the stage for the fight. I believe that's one of the reason I'm still here. And without, I was literally given a choice. I could have gone either way.
Wow, I'm loving that. What I'm loving about hearing that is that it allows you to have the responsibility in your core, but also allows you, as we have, free will to make that choice in every single moment, that you have the choice to make a different choice. And to be, here's an example. A couple of years ago, I was going to fly somewhere, and before stepping on the airplane, I felt uncomfortable, like I shouldn't take this flight. But what do we often do when we get a feeling that doesn't make sense or doesn't make rational sense? We put it aside and we say, that's silly, let me get on the plane. But I felt so uncomfortable that I started praying, and I said, God, if there's something wrong with this plane, let us not take off. And wouldn't you know it, we're on the plane, and they had to call us off because one of the tires just exploded. and they
Wow.
couldn't take off. But I was like, why does God have to do that for us to get a picture? And perhaps 150 people on that plane would have died, but we don't follow our call, our intuition, because it feels too weird. It doesn't make rational sense to not get on that plane or to not do that thing that's making you feel uncomfortable. And so I love that lesson you're giving to everyone that's listening in today, that, listen to your own inner voice, listen to the intuition. It will save your life sometimes and help you take the path to your greatest life, to live your greatest potential.
You're right. The thing that's so scary is that with all this technology and so forth, all the interaction that we have in our lives, all the distractions and so forth, it's harder and harder to learn to listen to our hearts, to our the things that God puts on our heart. The Holy Ghost is there, and He's there for a reason. And if we will just open up to it and take some time to spend time with the Lord and just clear our minds, our life can be just so much easier and simpler and rewarding.
Yes, I completely agree. That is totally awesome. Now, John, you did mention during our initial talk together that you are doing so many different programs and projects and work in charity to give back for all the blessings you've received. And I'd love if you'd share some of them with our audience in case some of them would like to get involved with some of the work you're doing.
Sure. Well, there's great organizations that I'm involved with. I'm involved with Operation Happily Ever After. That was started by Wayne and Angie Eagles. And what we do is we provide a all-expense-paid wedding for a young military couple. There is many different vendors that are involved. We donate to the cause. Couples register, and with Operation Happily Ever After, and then people vote on the couple. And the couple that gets the most votes wins the wedding. Last year's wedding was valued at over $50,000. The catch is that when people vote, they have to pay $1 for each vote. They can vote as many times as they want. But all the money that is raised goes to the Intrepid Fallen Heroes program for brain injuries. It's a great, great organization, and well as we get to provide this wonderful wedding for a young, deserving military couple. I've been involved with it for the last 3 years, and I provide custom-designed wedding bands up to a value of $4,000. And it's just awesome. I just getting to present those and seeing their face and knowing that it's, I'm doing it for a good cause, it's just not anything better than that. I also work with a group called Warrior Aviation Flight Team. They are a nonprofit, and they are working with wounded warriors at helping provide the job training, and they pay the fees for job training, relocation fees, and so forth. They are starting to work very closely with Heroes to Hired, and just another really great bunch of people, and I really enjoy working with them. And then I'm in the process of developing my own nonprofit. This is what Aviation Jewelry Designs is all about. What we're looking to do is we're going to offer jewelry training, and it's from bench work to CAD work, CAD design, stone cutting, many different things. But as well as I'm connected to some of the top artists in different medias all across the United States. And so my ultimate goal is to be a hub, so that we can have some intermediate classes where the warriors, wounded warriors, can have an opportunity to see different art forms and so forth, and then they can choose what interests them the most. And the goal is so that we can provide funding and be able to, get this warrior to wherever it needs to be for the training, to work with these particular artists, and see them all the way through to, either setting up just as a hobby, just something to keep them busy, to keep their mind off things, right on into getting jobs. One of the great things, too, about what I do here is that a lot of people, especially when you've had it's something that's so disfiguring that it's, some people aren't comfortable getting out, in the public. And this can be actually done right out of a person's home. When I got into the CAD design aspect of it, that just opened up things even greater for me. I saw the potential there, and I'm going, wow, we can really help so many more people. I mean, even somebody that is paralyzed from the neck down, they can operate a computer. There's technology where they can do things with their eyes or their mouth and so forth. So it's endless possibilities. There's really not anybody out there that we can't help and find something for them to do. And the arts, it's just it's just so rewarding. And I hurt all the time. The only time I don't hurt is if I'm asleep or I'm focused. And in my work, I knew it made a major impact in my life. I did not know the full extent of it until 2011 was the first time I'd seen a burn doctor since 1990. And this doctor told me, he says, Mr. Witt, I want you to know something. He said, you're an exception to the rule. And I said, well, what's the rule? And he said, it's one thing that you lived through what you did. But he said, the fact that you're still here 30-some-odd years later and you're as healthy as you are and outgoing as you are and things that you do, he said, that's an exception to the rule. He said, I don't know what it is that you're doing, but whatever it is right. And some of his nurses are going, oh, wow, can't wait till you see what he does. And so then I started my work, and he was just blown away. And I told him that my doctor out in Texas, that wanted me to make her that ring. And by the way, she got her little ring. But she prescribed my jewelry work as therapy. I was actually declared 100% disabled. This is what keeps me going. I've had so many doctors tell me that if it wasn't for what I do, the stress and pain and so forth that I have had to experience, that it's very unlikely I would still be here. But now this doctor that I saw, he was like, there's no reason why you won't be here many years to come. That was music to my ears.
Wow.
But I want to share that. It's that they didn't have, or if there was programs like this back when I was hurt, I didn't know anything about it. So that's what I'm out to do, and I'm looking for people to help me to get involved with this dream, and it's just so rewarding. I know that the Lord is going to put the right team together, and it's just a matter of time. Each and every day, I'm just a step closer. Matter of fact, Warrior Aviation just recently notified me that when I'm ready, they have committed to paying for the training for 2 wounded warriors and relocation. And a good friend of mine, Blaine Lewis, the New Approach School from Jewelers, he is the guy that teaches autistic people. And I've worked with him and taught with him, and just a wonderful guy. And so we're working a thing out where when I'm ready, these warriors are going to go to his school, and they're going to be trained by him, and then I'm going to employ them. And I'm very excited about it. I wish I was in the opportunity in the right time now to where I could do that. I could definitely use the help. But, I'm patient.
Well, let our audience know, for anyone out there who's intrigued and wants to get involved and help you in any shape or form, whether it be come out there in person or donate, please let the audience know how they can get in contact with you.
Well, they can contact me through John at Aviation Jewelry Designs with a S.com. You're welcome to give me a call, 919-221-3643. And I'm located in Goldsboro, North Carolina. I'm in the Crossroads Shopping Plaza. I'm about a mile from the Seymour Johnston Air Force Base, home of F-15 Strike Eagle. And very, very proud of my homeboy.
Yeah, awesome. And so they can also find out more about your jewelry at aviationjewelrydesigns.com, correct?
That's correct.
Awesome. Well, it's been awesome having you out here, John, sharing your amazing story of persistence and following your passion that anything is possible. Do you have any last words you'd like to leave our audience with?
Believe in yourself, find your passion, and go for it.
Absolutely. Go for it. I love that. Thank you so much, John, for coming to Savvy Central Radio.
And thank you, Christina. It's my pleasure.
Join us this Monday, November 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern for our special Veterans Day show, where our guest will be Owen Hughes, one of the last remaining World War II nose and pinup airplane artists.
Hi, it's Teresa DeGrobo here. I am so excited to be coming to New York with Christina Nichman and mastering the Influence Game series hosted by Savvy Central Radio. I am going to be speaking on how to become a master at the influence game. We're going to really dive into how do you get that stampede of customers that are really anxious to buy your products and your services. And what are the really critical steps you have to take to be really successful in connecting with the high-level influencers? How do you get past the gatekeepers and have them take you seriously and really want to play with you? We're also going to talk about the power of a best-selling book, why it's your top marketing tool, and I'm going to tell you the insider secret formula for how you can get there quickly. Looking forward to seeing you.
To find out more, go to masteringtheinfluencegame.eventbrite.com.